What's up, everybody? It's LaVar Arrington here, and I had an opportunity to sit down with Coach Mack Brown. You know, the 2005 Texas Longhorns, hook 'em horns, took it to the USC Trojans for one of the most memorable, dynamic talents to play in one singular game in the history of our game. He was the coach on the winning sideline. But he's so much more than just a coach, and you guys are going to get the opportunity to hear from him and the things he had to say and the things that we discussed, and we talked about what's going on currently in the college ranks and the college levels, and they got pretty deep. He touched on some personal things, and we talked through some really, really cool things. So lock in. Here we go. My interview with Coach Mack Brown. Was good, huh? Well, it's good. All good. Here it is. Good in the Game podcast. We're coming at you in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. There's really no real introduction that's needed or necessary. We got the famed Coach Mack Brown. Yes, some of y'all may know him as a Tulane guy. Some of y'all may know him as an Appalachian State, an App guy, a Mountaineer. Some of y'all really may know him as a Texas Longhorn, and we'll get to that. And a Tar Heel. And if you know him as a player, then you knew that he did a little bit of time at Vandy with his brother, and then did a little bit of time at Florida State. Coach Mack Brown. Coach, you talked about the National Football Foundation. Let's just expand. Let's start there and expand a little bit. You're in the Hall of Fame. Clearly, you have done so many great things for our sport and for the game. But just talk to me about how the National Football Foundation plays a part and plays a role in what's good in the game for Coach Mack Brown.
Well, LaVar, you think about what Steve Hatchell's done, and Steve was he was commissioner of the Metro Conference. He was the head of the Orange Bowl. He's done so many different things that he was the perfect fit to run our foundation. And then you can't have a better president than Archie Manning. I mean, Archie's the best. I played against Archie. He may be the nicest human being I've ever met, not to take away from you, Steve, but we would both say Archie's nicer than we are, and who better to be in charge of our foundation other than Steve and Archie. So they're so good. And then when you look back, what you want is recognition from your peers. And that's what this does. If I've been fortunate enough to be around so many great players and great coaches that they have put my name on awards that they earned and deserved, and none better than being in the Hall of Fame, because LaVar, that lets me thank everybody that ever worked with me or played for me. Mm-hmm. And I tell them when I see them, you're in the Hall of Fame too, because you put me there. And I'm on a podcast right now called the Stampede with Vince Young. And I said, I wouldn't be on this podcast if it wasn't for you. Right. So there's so many players that are great people, but they also are so important in my life. And that's what the Hall of Fame does. At our Hall of Fame induction party, the night before we were inducted in 2019, we invited players from Tulane, App State, North Carolina, and Texas. And it was really interesting that like your coaches at Penn State, they all had similar backgrounds and they all fit together because they are who we chose to run our programs. And that was one of the more fun parts of my life, to have friends and boosters from each of those universities and also players and coaches.
You brought up your podcast, The Stampede. One of the greatest college football players of all time in Vince Young. Just an amazing, amazing football player. That team had some amazing football players on it. Can you walk me through, because this is cool to get firsthand conversation from you. What was it like going into that 2005 championship game against USC? What was the season like, Coach? Like getting through the season with all the expectations, because we're going to get to the conversation of today's football at the college level. But going through that season, then ultimately playing one of the greatest football teams, runs of a football team, and you guys kind of effectively put an end to it, put the brakes on them, if not for an evening. What was that like going through that season, Coach? And what was it like preparing for that USC team? And then maybe the greatest memory, your best memory of the game and that victory over USC in 05.
We played Michigan in the Rose Bowl the year before, and Texas had never been to a Rose Bowl, and Texas had never played Michigan because the Big Ten and the Pac-12 had always played in that game, and it just a couple of years that other people were invited. So Vince Young wins the Michigan game, and we win by 2 points late in the game with a late field goal, and I love Lloyd Carr. Michigan had a great team. And after the game, we're staying in the middle of the field, and Vince, they said, "What do you think, Vince, about the game?" And Vince said, "We'll be back." And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Coach, national championship game's here next year. Wow. It's going to be us and USC. We're going to be back." And I want everybody to understand that, and I want our team to understand it, and I want them to know today that we're starting to look at next year's season and USC. And then we came up with a slogan. There's this great golf teacher named Harvey Pinnock, who was legendary in Austin. And his motto, his quote was "Take dead aim." Mm-hmm. And so we asked his family, we asked Tom Kite, we asked Ben Crenshaw, guys that had worked with him, could we use "Take dead aim? Because we're taking a dead aim on USC, and we're taking a dead aim at the national championship game. And it meant, as a golfer, don't look at the sand, don't look at the water, you take dead aim at that pin. Mm-hmm. So the Pinnock family and the golfers gave us permission to use the "Take dead aim." So "Take dead aim" was our motto for the national championship game. And then there's a PR guy that's a Texas graduate, great friend of mine named Roy Spence here in town, that he owns GSD&M. And then he and Matthew McConaughey got together and said, "Okay, our goal is to win the conference championship. Our dream is to win the national championship. So we're going to take that aim on the national championship. We're going to get our goals accomplished, and then we're going to go ahead and get our dream." So it all was set up from the summer. You were a great leader, LaVar, on some great teams. Vince Young in the summer put on the grease board, after workouts, anybody who wants to beat Ohio State in Columbus on this date, meet me on the practice field tonight at 7.
Wow.
And at that time, coaches couldn't be there. So the entire team showed up. And this was early July. So Vince comes to me and says, "Coach, we're good. They're all locked in." So we beat Louisiana Lafayette in the opener, I think 60-3 or something. And then we go to Columbus and have a great game. And I'm not sure that the Ohio State team with Jim Tressel and the USC team and our team at Texas were the three best teams in the country. And we beat them by 3 points at the end of the game, which you've been to Columbus. That's really hard to do.
Hard to do.
And at night. And you can't even hear. And they were drunk on Thursday getting ready for this game.
Yeah, sure they were.
They were
some on Wednesday. Some was getting ready on Wednesday.
Some Wednesday. Some might have had to hang over from the weekend before, but that's a big game. So then we win that game, so I know we're good. And then we haven't beaten Oklahoma in a couple of years, so we go to Dallas for that game. We win that game, I think, like 45-12. And I said, yeah, we got this thing. We're really good. So I did something very unique after that, LaVar. I started taking the stats from the game that we played on Sunday and checking our stats with theirs. Here's why we won the game. And then I would take our stats and compare them to USC, whoever they played. I'd never done anything like that before because we were taking dead aim on USC. Mm-hmm. And then we beat Oklahoma State, and we're all in the locker room, and I go back in after the game, and our whole team's over around the TV, and they're watching Notre Dame and USC at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And that's the Bush push.
The Bush push. Sure.
And when Reggie pushed Matt in for the touchdown, our whole team exploded. So I got them over, and I said, "What are you doing?" They said, "Coach, we want to play USC. We don't want them to get beat. We want it to be number one against number two." And then we go ahead and we end up we're playing I'll never forget, we beat Kansas, I think, like 66-14, and that was senior night. And then we're supposed to play A&M the next week on Thanksgiving, and they're 4-7. Coach Bill Parcells coached me at Florida State. He is the head coach of the Cowboys. He calls and says, "Man, you're in trouble." And I said, "Coach, we're undefeated. We just killed Kansas. A&M struggling." He said, "That's your problem. You're like that fat rat eating the poison cheese, man. You're about to get beat because A&M, this is their national championship. They're not even going to a bowl. And all you're talking about is SC. You better look out because you're about to get beat." So I ran downstairs. I got the equipment manager. We dropped some cheese from every locker with his quote on it. At halftime, LaVar, we are down 29-24.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he was so right. And that's the day that Reggie Bush went off against Fresno State, and Reggie won the Heisman that day because the voting was the next week, and Vince didn't have as good a game against A&M. So we came back and won the game 40-29 because I said at halftime, we ate some of the cheese, and we're a little sick, but we're not going to die. We're still going to win the game, so we'll be okay, but we got to go back to work. So then the next week, we beat Colorado 70-3 in the conference championship game, and I loved Gary Barnett, and he was in some trouble, and I hated the game, got out of control, and we really were just trying not to score.
Yeah,
I mean, we had walk-ons in. I was telling them, slow the clock down, snap the ball with 1 second, don't go out of bounds.
Uncles and cousins were scoring, huh?
Yes, they were. In fact, some of the coaches said, "I don't know some of these guys' names that are in there now scoring."
Wow.
So, and then you go to USC. So I'm at the Heisman with Vince and Reggie and Matt, because Matt had won it the year before and he's up for it again. And I've been there with Ricky Williams, and the Heisman people were all over us. They were talking to us all the time, hugging us. They weren't around Vince very much. So I said, "Vince, I don't think you won, man. They're all over Reggie. They're not going to let Matt win it twice, but they're all over Reggie. So prepare yourself, because the guy who loses has to make a speech too. He has to have a press conference, which is really tough." So Vince said, "I think you're wrong, Coach." And I said, "Well, just you be prepared to say something classy if it doesn't work out. If it works out, you'll be fine.
Indeed.
But prepare yourself for the worst." So he loses. He gets up, he hugs Reggie. He goes immediately to a corner. He gets his phone out. The whole team's in a room in Austin, Texas, and he says, "Hey, we lost the Heisman, man. Game on. Game on." So one of our players that I won't say his name because it was a little embarrassing, had a press conference the next day. Vince and I were still at the Heisman. I shouldn't have had a press conference without me being there. But he said, USC team's not any good. They're not any good. They've won 36 straight.
I know it.
They've won 2 national championships. So I said, "Don't be stupid." So I get back, I call a team meeting, and I said, "Listen, they are really good. They've got a bunch of NFL players. They got 2 Heisman Trophy winners. They've won 36 games. Give them credit. Let's be like the story of Troy. Let's come in the wooden horse. Let's keep our mouth shut. Let's brag on them or say nothing. And then for the game, let's make sure we
let it all loose.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Because it's going to be a great game." And we had like 50 days. It was forever till we played. It's January 4th. So we're practicing, and I can tell practice is great. Guys are focused.
What was the game planning like, Coach? Like, for you guys as coaches, like, this is so intriguing. What was the game planning like? Like, were you driving yourself crazy, like hitting rewind? Like, what were you looking for? Like, what were you looking for details? Like, what was the game planning going into this game like for you guys?
Yeah, how do you stop Reggie Bush? And you don't. How do you slow Reggie Bush down? How can you get enough pressure on Matt to try to get the ball out of his hands a little quicker? And then we forgot Lindell White.
Oof.
And he gained about 150 yards rushing against us because we were all over Reggie. He didn't do that much. I think he had 1 run, but Lindell, he was all over us, man. But we saw the guys at Disneyland, and everybody was getting along, and Vince had been with Matt and Reggie at the Heisman, and we ate with the USC coaches. And I actually had Coach Royal was with me, and Pete Carroll had won 2 national championships, and I was kind of cutting up. And I said, "You're probably going to win a 3rd one." So, Pete, go over there and sit with Coach Royal. He won 3, and you all talk about championships. And I was laughing and cutting up with that. And Steve Sarkisian was the quarterback coach. Lane Kiffin was the offensive coordinator. When you go back and start looking at that staff, and then it was time for the game. And LaVar, what do you say? What's your pregame talk? Texas hadn't won a national championship in 35 years. You're down to 4 hours where you can change the history of your life and Texas football. So I didn't know what to say. I'd never been in that position before, and I had learned from Coach Switzer that when they're uptight, relax them. When they're not focused, get on them, man. Scare them. Get right in their face. So I could tell this bunch was uptight now. It was real. It was down to where they finally realized, oh my gosh, this team's really good. So I'm sitting in my room. I'm watching some TV, trying to figure out what do we do. We actually, there was such a crowd of Texas fans at our hotel. We took the travel squad and took them to another hotel in Burbank that was undisclosed, so nobody knew where we were. Didn't even tell my wife, didn't tell the families, so nobody would be there. And it was really a good move because the year before, Michigan thing was just out of control. They couldn't get up and down stairs or elevators or escalators, or it was crazy. So I'm sitting there watching TV, and I see this show, Jerry Springer, come on. I'd never seen Jerry Springer before.
Oh, geez.
And I thought, wow, this is crazy, man. So I watched 3 30-minute shows.
All right.
So I said, I got it. So I'm going into the pregame talk, and our listeners are the team, and I could see they're all locked in, and they're trying to get me to make this okay because they are nervous. They are uptight. So I said, thank you. Thank you for getting us here, man. It's your team. It's not our team. You're the ones that practiced. You're the ones that played. You have made your family happy, the faculty happy, the administration happy, all of our big boosters happy, the high school coaches, the state of Texas is really proud that you're here. So thank you. Thank you for doing this. And I said, how many of you have ever watched the show Jerry Springer? Well, it scared me there. Every hand went up. I thought, oh,
of course.
Gosh. Of course.
Yeah.
So
we
I said,
used to sit in the dorms and watch Jerry Springer.
There's no question. So I said, okay, so I'm going to tell you something. It's not only going to help you win this game, it's going to help you the rest of your life. And man, I got them. They are totally locked in. And I said, okay.
Like, what's he about to say?
I watched an hour and a half of Jerry Springer before I walked in here. And what I learned is if your girlfriend or your wife ever ask you to go on Jerry Springer, man, don't go.
Don't go.
It ain't good, brother. And they died laughing. And I said, that's right. We're going to have fun.
Right.
We didn't come here to be tight. We didn't come here to mess this thing up. We didn't come here to try to do more than we can do. We're really a good football team. We came here to be us, man. So let's have fun. Let's enjoy this. Let's give them the respect because they are a great team, not a good team. But you know what? We are too. And then we're standing on the field in pregame, and you got that big horse riding around with a Trojan on him, and you've got the beautiful mountains in the Rose Bowl that you've seen. And then you sit there, and Pete and I are talking, and Pete walks away, and Greg Davis, our offensive coordinator, walks up, and I said, Greg, oh my gosh, they got a great looking team. Look at these guys. He said, Coach, turn around. You got a great looking team too.
Yeah.
And that's what the game was. It was just down to the last play.
It was. I mean, it's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, championship games of all time. I mean, and just the lasting memory of Vince with that run and then standing in the confetti. I don't know that there's a more iconic, visual of winning a championship thus far. That could be the one, Coach. Let me ask you this because that is such great imagery. Like I was living it. Like I never got close to a championship game, Coach. So I'm envisioning it right now and being able to live it out with you reliving it. You also had the opportunity to come back and coach, and you at one point were at UNC. You end up coming back. You've coached through different eras of time, and you mentioned what it's like being a coach and getting the guys loose, and if they're, what'd you say, they're unfocused, scare them. If they're too tight, get them to relax. How does being a coach back then, and it seems like it's not that long ago, but 2005, it's like ages ago now. I mean, I was still playing. To now in 2025, how has the coaching game changed for coaching? It seems as though, guys, I do my homework. I looked at your starting records, and there were always modest starts for you. And you eventually built your teams up to be winning teams. It doesn't seem like that type of process or belief in a coach. I don't know that they get that much time these days in today's day and age. How have things changed? Because you've had an opportunity to coach through those different eras. How have things changed in your estimation?
LaVar, I coached about 50 years, and there were more changes in my last 4 years than the first 46.
46. Yeah.
It was unbelievable, and I never thought that we would lose amateurism. I never thought. We should have paid the players more long before we did. The conferences and the universities took advantage of the players without meaning to.
Yeah, sure.
But they should have maybe given $150,000 to you when you graduated to help you get your life started. Have travel for your parents to bowl games, or there should have been things that we were aggressive with to try to help players and families more than we did, and then we got the toothpaste out of the tube. We threw too many things out there without thinking about the consequences. We say NIL's not for play, pay for play. Well, it is. I mean, that's what it is. And a musician in college could make money off his music. An artist can make money off his or her artwork. But you couldn't make any money off of your name and your image and doing
performing
things
in
right
front of millions
and performing in front of millions and bringing money and joy and recognition to the university. And you got nothing. We got $15 a month for laundry money. So we let it get out of hand. We got way behind the times. And then the fact that NIL with no guidelines and transfer portal collided.
Ooh.
And then you got tampering. And now it's a mess. And we had the 20-year anniversary last Saturday of our national championship team. All those guys are still close. They're buddies. They even the ones that hadn't talked to each other in a year, they still felt like they're best friends. And they do business together. And it is a family. It is a team. And great teams become great citizens. And success is success as you go through. Maybe at the Penn States and the Texas and the Ohio States and the Alabamas, that's still going to happen because they're going to have enough money. They can pay players and they don't have to go into the portal. Like Texas only signed 11 kids, I think. Some of these teams are signing 40 or 50 a year out of the portal. Well, number one, that means you're having to run some players off, which is not good for our sport. And number two, you're bringing in guys that don't even have a relationship with the team, with the community, and then you're bringing in guys that maybe have transferred 3-4 times. If you transfer once, you've got about a 63% chance of graduating because some of your courses don't transfer in. You transfer 2, 3, 4 times, you're not going to graduate. And what I'm worried about, LaVar, is then when you're not graduating, and you don't have a community that supports you and a place that you grew with boosters.
No flag. A man with no flag.
You got no flag. You got no place. Then you're not going to be able to get a job. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have coaches that are helping you get jobs because they're all over the place and you didn't stay. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be homeless. And then you're going to have mental health problems. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm concerned. It's about the players at the
long
end.
Term.
The long term. And I think it's real and it's happening, and we need to get this thing fixed fast.
Do you have any thoughts on how they could do things to make it better? Knowing it, understanding this the way that you do, Coach, is there any, do you have suggestions, of any kind that could make, because you're right. I mean, my son goes to Penn State. He wears number 11 like his dad. We lose our coach. And
early in the season.
Oh man. And now they're losing games. And this is something we haven't seen in quite some time, maybe ever in the history of our football program. And the conversations that I've had with him are, how do you feel? And he said, Dad, I'm a Nittany Lion. I didn't come here to want to be a Duck later on or to want to be something else later on. I came here because of my belief in like you said, all those elements, the community. He was raised in that community.
It's his history. It's his background.
And it means so much to him that's more of his conversation rather than being, complaining about what the situation has presented itself by losing his head coach. And I said, man, I must have done something right along the way, because I couldn't have been prouder of his reasoning and his thought process behind how he's handling, losing Coach Franklin as his head coach in his freshman year and them losing a lot of games. Do you have any, what would be words of any kind, wisdom from you in terms of how to approach where college football is right now as a player and as a coach?
Yeah. LaVar, let me give you another example before I put a couple of thoughts out there. Amari Campbell.
Yes.
I recruited at North Carolina. Love the young guys. Great linebacker, better person. Yep. Love his family.
Yep.
So I leave. Coach Belichick comes in. He stays through spring practice, doesn't want to leave, so he goes to Penn State. Mm-hmm. Loses his second coach in 2 years. Mm-hmm. How unfair is that for a mental health?
Unfair. It's always a reset. You got to learn how to hit the reset button before you even get an opportunity to thrive, right?
Yes. And now with Amari and your son, the new coach comes in. He didn't like him.
That's a roulette game.
That's a roulette game.
It's a roulette game. Yes.
So what I've told the guys, you make it where he has to like you. You do everything right. All he's going to do is want good players. So you make it where there's no chance for him to start looking somewhere else for those. But here's what I would do. It's obviously not simple or easy because it would be fixed because it's a mess. Mm-hmm. And everybody talks about it, but nobody's fixing it. Mm-hmm. So what I would do is get everybody in the same room. Congress, NCAA, top presidents, top athletics directors, commissioners, head of the AFCA, American Football Coach Association, get them all in one room and say, okay, what's best for the game, the kids that play it, the coaches that coach it, and the fans that watch it? What's best? Let's throw out our selfishness. When I was head of the AFCA, I couldn't put my Texas hat on because I was in charge of all of the universities. Mm-hmm. So did I want to do what was best for Texas or what was best for Iowa State? Mm-hmm. I had to do what was best for everybody. That's what we've got to do now. We got to start looking about what's best for these young people and our great game. Mm-hmm. Let's don't be foolish. And LaVar, for the first time ever, this is professional football. We are paying players. Mm-hmm. Now, we're paying young people who are not near as mature as the NFL players and we're putting too many decisions on them about transferring too easy. I'm not making enough money. Then we give them an agent. Then we got third parties involved with parents. Your son's lucky you've been through all this. You can help him.
Yep.
So many of these kids don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the help. So I think we go to Roger Goodell and sit down and say, okay, you took many years to get your model.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time in my vision, the NFL model is better than the college model.
Mm.
So let's look at the NFL model. Let's get a salary cap.
Does that mean unionize and stuff like that, Coach? Like,
I think you have to.
How far do you got to go as far as they go, huh?
I do. Collective bargaining. You've got agents. You got to vet the agents because some of the agents.
Because there is no vetting. There's no vet. My best friend. Hey, bestie.
Yeah.
Want to represent? Come on, man. Let's do this. It's like,
yeah,
you could get any geek off the street can come in and be your representation at the college level
and take 30%.
Or however much they take,
yeah.
Coach. You don't know.
No. And so many parents, unlike you, are not educated toward this process.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to vet those agents and make sure that they are quality people. We've got to get a certain percentage that they get 2 or 3% instead of 20 to 30 because they're taking this hard-earned money from these young people. Get it so that the one transfer portal window is going to be better. Cal lost 5 running backs after spring practice last year. That means they got to go get somebody else's running backs.
That quick.
Right. It's unfair. And then that kid says, well, I'm not, I feel like I'm still being loyal, but I got to leave. They're giving me more money. Mm-hmm. So we're making it too easy to quit. We're making it too easy to transfer. And we're making it too easy to tamper. And we have really, you got agents now that are calling agents. So you really, it's hard to catch them.
Wow.
It's hard to catch them. We had a collective at North Carolina. There were some agents that would call our collective and say, listen, you're playing against this number 21 in 2 weeks. He's the left corner, and he'd like to come to your team after the season, so watch him. And here's the amount of money he's making. Here's how much he'd like to make. Can you imagine?
And that's tampering.
That's tampering.
Wow.
And we just said, hey, we're out. Don't call us back. So but we just gotta.
You can't just be a coach. Like you can't just be a coach. Like
no.
you can't coach guy. How do you tell him we had what was called awareness training. How you're late for class, or you're late for breakfast, or you're late for something, there has to be a consequence and a repercussion. That's how you learn. Yeah. I, to this day, Coach, beat my alarm clock up because even back then, if your alarm didn't go off, that was not an excuse for being late. And you're talking about, we had a power surge. And my plug in the wall alarm clock got reset and my alarm didn't go off. I knew I was late. I knew I was in trouble. And I had to take my punishment, Coach. But I never overslept ever again. I've never trusted an alarm clock, not one more day of my life after that took place. And you know what? I love the fact that my body knows it's got to get up. When it's time to work, I got to work. To this day, that was one of the main lessons I learned from that moment in time was Coach said 10 minutes late is on time, or 10 minutes early is on time. And I always have been set to a 10-minute early clock. Always been set to a 10-minute early clock. Coach, you can't do that now. If you say, yeah, you got awareness training, like, I'm not doing no awareness training. Like, you go do the awareness training. Like, it's almost as though the portal, these agents, like, go talk to my agent. Like, I'm not practicing today. Like, my back is hurting. Like, I think I'm going to sit out practice for the spring, whatever it may be. Like, it's almost like guys are coming with demands that are higher. Some of them. I'm not going to say this is all guys. I'm just saying some of the stories I've heard some stories, and it just seems like this now puts coaches in a very compromised position on being able to be really what they're supposed to be, coaches.
Yeah, LaVar, we went to 6 bowl games at North Carolina, and they hadn't been to one in a couple of years. Our top 4 players, after the first year they all played. After that, our top 4 players didn't play. And it was we went to the Orange Bowl, and 4 of our best players didn't play because agents were giving them money to get ready for the draft and get a trainer and get a chef and get a place to stay. And you may get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But then they might play in the Senior Bowl. So it's we've lost some of who we are. I'll tell you this story because this is who you are. We're playing Michigan in the Rose Bowl. Cedric Benson, who we lost to an awful
rest his soul. Yeah.
Rest his soul. Great player, tough as nails, loved to play. Lost him in a motorcycle wreck a number of years ago. We're at Michigan. First play of the game, he hyperextends his knee. He's going to be a first-round pick, probably 15th, 16th pick in the first round. Doctors come over and said, you know, man, you're a first-round pick. I don't know, you're okay, but you've twisted it some. You're going to be limited. I wouldn't go back in. He said, tape it up. Played the whole game. Didn't even think about laying out.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the locker room. Game's over. I've talked to the team. I've talked to the media. I'm the last one walking out, and I see Cedric Benson sitting in the corner in full uniform with his helmet on, crying. So I go over and I sit down next to him, and I say, are you okay? Is it your knee? He said, no, Coach. I'm fine. My knee's fine. And I said, well, what are you doing?
Just taking it in.
He said, this is the last time I will ever have a Texas football uniform on, and I don't want to take it off. And I thought, that's what college football is all about.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Dang, I got choked up.
Yeah.
Got choked up.
You've been that guy. I mean, that's it.
I've been that guy, but man, just knowing like sad, like it's a great story. That's a great story, Coach. Yeah. I mean, I have so many other things I want to talk to, but we've already gone over the time. Coach, just give me one last nugget before we wrap it up. If there were one thing that you could leave our viewing audience, our listening audience with, what would you want to make sure that they know as it applies to how this game impacts life? Like the game of football, this is called Good in the Game. The podcast is called Good in the Game, and I got to tell you, this has been one of the most profound interviews that I've probably ever done. Not just on this show. This is probably one of the most profound I've ever done. So thank you for that. But leave us with something. What to you, Coach? What would you leave with our listening audience on what's good? Like, tell me, good in the game. What does that represent for you?
Well, LaVar, first thing, when I was called and said you were going to interview me, I lit up. I love great people that played great, and it matters to me. And that's what this game to me is all about. You sitting there talking about alarm, I don't turn the alarm on anymore.
Right.
I wake up because I am so afraid at 74 years old to miss a meeting or be a little bit late or be close or not be prepared. I mean, I don't even sleep when I've got the next morning because I got to get up.
That's right.
And do that. And this game teaches you so many of those wonderful things. I saw a quote about a month ago that really got me. It said, if your habits don't lead to your dreams, then change your habits. That's this game. We as a group have to get back to what's right about this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like firing coaches 4 games into the season. Mm-hmm. Let's get some rules like the NFL. I don't like coaches talking to other places right now. The coaches that have jobs, they're interviewing for jobs. That's not fair to anybody. And I know they feel like they're going to get fired. I was probably too loyal and didn't take care of myself enough, and I got that. But let's get back to where the game is pure. The game is to help young people improve their lives and get stronger and get better and get more disciplined and fight through things.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just don't say I can quit and go do something else. That's not life.
Mm-hmm.
You don't quit a job unless you got another one.
Amen.
So I think the biggest thing is let's get our game back. And this is I have played or coached since I was in the 4th grade. And I have had a wonderful run. I'm not through yet. I don't even call it retirement. It sounds old and tired. I call it rewiring. You rewire because you've always got to help somebody. You got to be able to give back.
Mm-hmm.
And this game is something where you always are helping somebody and always giving back. And it's about life's lessons. And the good in this game is that everybody that plays this game was better because of it. Might not even know it at the time. And everybody grows up at different times. You and I have seen great players that quit or got in trouble or made poor decisions or didn't go to school. And then at some point they graduated and they're acting right and they say, Coach, I'm sorry. And I said, you don't have to be sorry. We all grow up at different times.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it happens, you just got to make it happen.
That's so cool.
And I am not down on this sport. The good in this game is going to still be there. It's going to come up. The more people are watching than ever before. The playoffs are great, but we've got to keep fighting for what's best for the sport and best for those kids.
Love that. Coach Mack Brown, everyone. First time I've ever given a round of applause on an interview. But let me tell you something, Coach. You are as advertised and more. I've heard through the years, and when people say, if there's one you want to play for, there's a few names that came up. I got an opportunity to get to know Coach Bobby Bowden, rest his soul. Got an opportunity to spend time with him, and it was amazing. It was amazing to get that time with him. I got to say, this is right up there. This is right up there with it in terms of I've heard so many things about you through the years about what type of a man you are and what you have represented to so many people. Coach, I've now experienced it personally. And I, like I said, I'm very humbled to have this opportunity to have sat down with you and just keep being you, Coach. Stay encouraged, stay strong, because I mean, we done 40 minutes of conversation and you've impacted me. Like, I've been impacted by this interview. Your words are powerful. Your message is strong. Keep keeping on. Keep keeping on, Coach.
Thank you, LaVar. And you hug your son and you keep leading him. And
I will.
I've told all the young people in my life, it's not hard to be honest. It's not hard to be nice. Those things are easy. So you do that. In fact, I'll close with this. Coach Roll told me, don't ever walk by a person, regardless of how old or how young, that wants a picture with you or an autograph. You stop and you sign it.
Everyone.
And it's not about you, it's about the position you hold, and you be respectful to that position.
That's right. Leave an experience.
I've looked at that forever. So, and that won't change. Made me late some, I had a mad wife some, but
yes,
I still did what I was supposed to do for this job.
Absolutely. Coach, I appreciate your time. Wow. This was amazing. Coach Mack Brown, everyone. Coach Mack Brown, the legendary Hall of Fame Coach Mack Brown. This is good in the game. And wow, I tell you what, you guys have been blessed. You have been given some jewels today. I'm blown away. So I hope you guys enjoyed this show as much as I enjoyed doing the interview. And till next time, I'm LaVar Arrington. That's Coach Mack Brown. Make sure you subscribe to Good in the Game podcast. Make sure you spread the word and let people know about the show. I truly appreciate that. And so would all of us at the National Football Foundation and our endeavors to bring positive awareness to our game and great perspective. Till next time, I'm LaVar Arrington. Talk to you soon.